Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia, back with another episode. Brock Lesnar will appear to answer Cody Rhodes' Backlash challenge, and Trish Stratus explains why she attacked Becky Lynch. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the 17th April edition of Raw, as well as the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including Roman Reigns' next opponent could be a surprise, Goldberg's anger with the WWE, an update on 3 absent SmackDown superstars, Big Bucks Becky Lynch, and more. As always, Wrestlelamia won't recap the show, but look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. The good. The Unholy Alliance. Tonight's temporary alliance between the Judgment Day and the Bloodline was a clever idea that worked on several levels. First, it let fans know how crafty Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman are. Second, it showed the continued tension between the two factions and that it's inevitable that they'll clash again. With the tension between Rhea Ripley and Solo Sikoa being so thick, fans were probably wondering if they were going to beat each other senseless or start making out. Finally, it gave fans a chance to see some fresh matchups. Paul Heyman, scumbag extraordinaire. Can anyone top Paul Heyman when it comes to playing the sneaky scumbag who is always trying to gain favor and power? Heyman telling Jay and Jimmy that Roman only wanted Solo to know had to have fans wondering just what type of game is being played on Jimmy and Jay, and how much longer before they realize how much Roman is using them. Heyman is the kind of grimy and slimy snake that not even heels want to be around, something evident when he showed up backstage to talk with the Judgment Day, and they dismissed him as quickly as they could. Trish explains everything. Trish explained everything tonight, including why she took out Becky, she grew tired of being ignored as the person who started the women's revolution, and why she took out Lita last week. This was Booking 101, and Stratus delivered plenty of stratisfaction. Cody goes berserk. It's always good to see a babyface show some fire, and Cody certainly did so tonight. WWE authority figure Adam Pearce told Cody he couldn't lay hands on Brock because Rhodes still isn't cleared to compete, but he did book a Cody vs. Brock match for Backlash. This was cold comfort for Cody, who ignored Pearce, taking out a cadre of WWE security as he tried in vain to get his hands on Brock Lesnar. Lesnar seemed content to hide behind security, which only infuriated the American Nightmare further, with Cody shouting that Brock needs to take off his stupid hat as he's no cowboy, he's a coward. An exciting main event. Tonight's Judgment Day vs. Riddle, Zayn, and KO main event was a terrific way to end Raw. Even better, the WWE allowed the LWO to get a bit of respect back by saving the babyfaces from a post-match beatdown from the Bloodline. Fans love their brawls, and they got their money's worth tonight with 4 groups throwing down in and out of the ring. Hyping the draft. Although fans won't know whether this year's WWE draft will accomplish anything, the WWE deserves credit for hyping it with backstage segments, commercials, and mentions from the announcers. Alpha Academy, amusing as always. Tonight's brief backstage banter between Maxine Dupree and Chad Gable was amusing as always. Watching the two fight over Otis, or Otis, depending on which version of the lovable oaf you prefer, showed how to make fans laugh, changing things up a bit as any 3-hour show should do. The bad. Rematch after rematch. Once again, Wrestlelamia has to ask just how much Vince McMahon is booking Raw. Tonight's show featured more rematches, including Austin Theory vs. Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins vs. The Miz, and even Candice LeRae and Mia Yim vs. Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. The only rematch that served any purpose other than padding the show was Theory vs. Lashley, which furthered the feud between Bronson Reed and Bobby Lashley. Unfortunately, even the WWE couldn't execute that properly, telegraphing a segment. Raw's announcers usually do an excellent job calling the action and forwarding storylines, but tonight they, and the WWE, all but announced that Bronson Reed would interfere in the Austin Theory vs. Bobby Lashley bout. Was anyone surprised when Reed jumped Lashley during the match? Not after this gaffe. The downright ugly. No ugly, some good matches, but too many rematches. Tonight's show felt like a hybrid of Vince McMahon and Triple H. On one hand, there were the endless rematches, while on the other, there were the usual engaging matches, some comedy bits that were funny and not cringe, and wild brawls fans have come to expect from Triple H. There's no escaping that Vince McMahon apparently feels he's needed in creative, but if tonight's show is any gauge, fans may be able to live with the mix of McMahon and Helmsley. Goldberg angry with the WWE. Topping today's news is a report that Bill Goldberg is mad as hell over how his WWE career ended. Big Bad Bill recently chatted with 93.7 The Ticket's Adam Carricker. Vince McMahon and I had a handshake understanding that, after the Roman Reigns match, I would have a proper retirement match. And that hasn't come to fruition through them. So therefore, nobody puts a stamp on my career. Nobody tells me when I'm done, period. When somebody tells me that, I kind of like to fight against it. I like to do things my own way, and I go out of my way. I certainly don't go out, under Roman Reigns, 3 weeks after I've had COVID and agreed to a match. Eric Bischoff recently advised Tony Khan to book Goldberg vs. CM Punk at the upcoming All In Stadium show if AEW wants to sell the event out. Who's next for Roman Reigns? Speaking of Reigns, who is Roman Reigns going to defend his undisputed Universal Championship against next? Names such as Shinsuke Nakamura and Omos have been mentioned, but would the WWE Universe take either challenger seriously? Dave Meltzer seems to think a challenge could come from within the bloodline. Diamond Dave discussed this on Wrestling Observer Radio. Who can he wrestle against? They can turn Solo Sikoa, they can have him do Cody Rhodes one more time, they could have him do Sami Zayn, but everyone knows that Sami Zayn isn't going to win. Drew McIntyre, which in the case of Roman Reigns is someone that he's already beaten. It looks like the WWE is keeping the belt on Roman at least until he reaches the 1,000-day mark at Night of Champions. What happens afterward is anyone's guess. Is Tony Khan furious with the WWE? Is the animosity between AEW president Tony Khan and the WWE genuine? According to former wrestler Conan, it certainly is. K-Dog discussed the situation on an episode of his Keeping It 100 podcast. I can confirm to you 100% Tony Khan's anger at WWE is real, and he was really pissed off when Dragon Lee beat FTR. Conan was referring to Dragon Lee and Jalistico defeating FTR for the AAA World Tag Team Championships right before Dragon Lee jumped to the WWE. Khan apparently was unhappy with an AEW team losing to a star who was WWE bound. Where are these SmackDown superstars? Time to look at the whereabouts of 3 SmackDown superstars, Ronda Rousey, Drew McIntyre, and Aaliyah. As Wrestlelamia reported last week, the Scottish Warrior may be leaving WWE when his current contract expires, believed to be up at the end of this year. In the meantime, Dave Meltzer recently reported that McIntyre won't be returning to action for at least a few more weeks, based on the word over the weekend. McIntyre reportedly missed the 7th April SmackDown due to a minor injury. Ronda Rousey is still dealing with the arm injury that's kept her out of action for most of 2023. According to Bleacher Report's Tyler Conway, Rousey wrestled just 4 times this year and only twice on television. And what about former WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Aaliyah? Ringside News tweeted, "We've asked around about Aaliyah's WWE status. She's still with the company, but we've confirmed that her name doesn't come up in creative meetings. She just isn't talked about at all anymore." The WWE may also be waiting for the right storytelling moment to bring one or more of these wrestlers back. For example, the WWE could use the draft to reintroduce fans to Aaliyah. When do you think these wrestlers will return? Let us know in the comments below. Becky Lynch about to become Big Bucks Becky? Is Becky Lynch ready to become Big Bucks Becky? Things are looking up for the man based on a recent report from Fightful Select. The Patreon site is reporting Lynch's future is looking brighter than ever. In addition to an upcoming new WWE contract, she's also reportedly looking for more Hollywood roles. According to Fightful Select, Becky Lynch is the wrestling world buzzing after tweeting that she wouldn't be at the April 17th WWE Raw, but she might be in store for some big-time money sooner than later. Several sites report Lynch didn't make Raw because she's dealing with a nagging injury. Nonetheless, there is a lot going on with Lynch's future. With Lynch dropping her verification badge and changing her display name to her real name Rebecca Quinn, many inquiries were made to Fightful about her current status with WWE. We're told that Lynch signed a brand new deal upon returning to the company in 2021, and her time off for maternity leave is not a factor. Lynch signed a 3-year deal that currently expires in June 2024. Thus far, WWE sources tell us the two have not entered negotiations for a new deal. There are several deals that are up in 2024, as WWE had signed much of the roster to 4-year contracts then. At the time, WWE was signing and extending talent way before their expiration. While the Fightful report noted that some fans were concerned by Lynch stating she won't be on the 17th April Raw, the actual reason seems a bit less sensational. WRKD Wrestling tweeted, "The reason for Becky Lynch's absence from tonight's WWE Raw is that she is currently dealing with a minor injury. This will also serve as a cover to play into the betrayal she feels from last week's angle with Trish Stratus." Fightful also discussed Becky breaking into film and/or TV, and that she's also made connections within Hollywood and was slated to appear at the end of a Marvel movie at one point. She's also repped by CAA, a gigantic agency. Lynch has had a few minor roles, including playing Cyndi Lauper in the TV series Young Rock and an appearance in Billions. Becky even worked as a stunt double on the TV series Vikings. Whether Lynch decides to stay in WWE while dabbling in Hollywood, or she embraces Tinseltown, hoping to carve a cinema career much like Dave Bautista or The Rock, remains to be seen. Well, guys, there you have it, Wrestlemania's analysis of the 17th April edition of Raw, as well as the latest wrestling news and rumors you need to know. What do you think of these stories? Be sure to leave your comments and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, check out our website, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.